15 Unsolved Mysteries. We've come across several terrifying unsolved mysteries, but today we are here with the top 15 mysterious stories that'll crawl beneath your skin. All of these mysteries underwent deep investigation. People love to listen to mysteries with no answer. Unsolved mysteries, unsolved murders, ghosts, disappearances, and mysterious suicides get a great deal of attention from audiences. Here's what we have for you. 15. Ed Baker's death. In Texas, Ed Baker was the owner of a very successful oil investment company. Ed topped the industry in the 1980s and became a millionaire, but Ed was addicted to gambling, and he was a reckless spender. Due to this attitude, he lost all of his profits and started taking money from his clients' accounts. This didn't last long either. In 1985, the investors came knocking at his door. They wanted their money back at any cost. Under such tremendous pressure, he took a loan from people with mob connections to pay off his debt. He couldn't pay off the loan and started getting death threats soon after. Ed mysteriously disappeared on the night of 6 November 1985. 2 days after his disappearance, his Jaguar was found. The car had been totally burned, with human remains in the passenger seat. As the body wasn't recognized, it is assumed that Ed faked his death to get rid of his loan and live somewhere abroad. 14. A murder and the disappearance. In California, Hugh and Diane lived in the seaside town of Morro Bay. Diane and Hugh didn't have a happy marriage. Hugh was a fisherman and couldn't afford the expenses of his wife's dogs. But Diane didn't compromise on the money spent on her dogs, which put a strain on their marriage. In 1982, Diane was murdered, and a dog leash was found around her throat. Police suspected Hugh of the murder, but he was never arrested. Hugh disappeared during a trip to San Simeon. Later, his truck was found with its keys lying near it. Some people think that he fled. Others believe that he was kidnapped and killed by the same person who killed his wife. 13. The kidnapping of Angela Hammond. The abduction and kidnapping of Angela Hammond is a scary mystery. Angela was on the phone with her boyfriend when the incident occurred. She was talking to her boyfriend on a payphone when she felt something odd. A mysterious truck was circling her, and as it stopped, a man got out of it. Angela's boyfriend heard a scream before the phone went off. He immediately left his home and rushed towards the location of the payphone. When he was on his way to the location, he saw a truck speed past by in the opposite direction and also heard the screams of a girl. He tried to reverse and follow that truck, but unfortunately damaged his engine while doing so. He couldn't follow them. Within the blink of an eye, the truck disappeared, and Angela was never found. 12. The murder of Dick Hansen. On April 29, 1991, Dick Hansen, a resident of San Jose, went out for a casual night with his friends after a rocky divorce. After leaving a bar, Dick and his friends were on the highway when Dick saw that his friend Gene was being followed. Dick stopped in and forced the driver to pull over. When Dick confronted the guy, he came out of the car and gestured toward Gene's car. When Dick turned to see, the guy shot him twice and sped off. To date, the mystery is unsolved. It's unclear why the man shot Dick and followed Gene. Though a theory revolves around the case, Gene was followed because of her vanity plate which said 49R Hugs, referencing San Francisco 49ers. 11. The murder of Cindy James. For about 7 years before her death, Cindy James, a 44-year-old nurse, was continuously harassed. Cindy experienced creepy calls and notes. With time, the harassment transformed into violent attacks. Once, Cindy was found strangled with a nylon rope. She was once drugged and then stripped alongside a road. Another time, her house was set on fire when a few people were over to stay. Even after such events, the police didn't take any notice. Cindy disappeared and was found dead in an abandoned house a few weeks later. Her neck was tied with nylon, but it was later found that she had died because of a morphine overdose. The police called it a suicide because of the overdose, even after knowing previous events of drugging and abuse, which was strange. 10. The story of Audrey Santo. In Worcester, Massachusetts, a family named Santo went through a huge trauma when their youngest daughter fell into a pool. Though Audrey survived, she was left with brain damage. The story becomes a little odd when all the religious objects in their Catholic house started excreting oil. The Santos claimed that Audrey had been blessed and the oil was miraculous. It is possible that the events were faked. Audrey died in 2007 at the age of 29, and her home has since become a site of pilgrimage. 9. Sam and the Cult Connection. During the 1970s in New York, David, the son of Sam Berkowitz, killed 6 women and injured 7 others. The killer was caught, and Sam is currently serving a life sentence in prison. There are some who doubt the findings of the investigation. They think that Sam wasn't the only one involved in the series of killings and was part of a satanic cult. 8. Killing by combustion. Many scientists and investigators were shocked when they discovered a series of murders by spontaneous combustion. The murderer was labeled to be terrifying the way he killed people. Charred remains were found, and the bodies unrecognizable. 7. Haunting of Michael Jones. Michael Jones is considered a locus point of paranormal activities, starting when Michael saw the ghost of his grandfather when he was only 5 years old. After that particular incident, Michael began to see other ghosts in his house. Michael used to see another spirit he called the Shadow Man, a sinister entity. Michael went through 4 exorcisms, but nothing has worked so far. He still sees ghosts, but he's become used to it. 6. The Hauntings of the Wyrick Family. The Wyrick family was like any other ordinary family, until they moved to Georgia. Soon after moving into the new house, their youngest daughter started seeing ghosts. She saw a pair of spirits that she recognized as the previous owners of the house. She also saw other dead neighbors in the area. The interactions were initially friendly until a dark spirit entered their house. Their daughter was terrified of it. The spirit attacked both the daughter and the father, leaving claw marks on the daughter's face. 5. The Scary Deaths of Don Henry and Kevin Ives. On August 23, 1987, Henry and Kevin went out. They were high school best friends and lived in central Arkansas. Later, a train conductor saw them lying on tracks but couldn't stop the train in time. Later, it was found that the boys were dead before the train passed over them. The police suspected that the boys might have seen a drug drop and were killed because of it. The case is still unsolved. 4. Cindy Song's disappearance. Cindy Song disappeared after a Halloween party in 2001. She was a Korean exchange student at Penn State. It is believed that Cindy reached her apartment and then went out because the fake eyelashes that she wore at the party were found at her apartment, but her purse was not there. Some days later, a girl resembling Cindy was spotted being forced into her car by an Asian man. The incident took place in Philadelphia's Chinatown. There are many assumptions about her abduction, but people suspect that she was forced into sex trafficking. She still has not been found. 3. Ed Bell, the horrific criminal. Ed used to abuse children sexually. In August 1987, while he was in Texas, he was confronted by Larry Dickens. Ed killed Larry in his driveway, shooting him 22 times with a pistol and then with an automatic rifle. Though he was charged with murder, he still managed to escape on bail. He was again caught in Panama in 1993. He was brought back to the U.S. and sentenced to life imprisonment. While he was suspected as the murderer of many children, he died in 2019 in prison. 2. Kidnapping in a busy park. 2 different children were abducted at different times from the same park. They were kidnapped while in full view of their parents. Both the children, Christopher Dansby and Shane Walker, were toddlers at the time of the kidnapping in 1989 at Harlem Park. It was assumed that both the abductions were connected, but no leads have been found. Theories regarding child slavery and murder have circled around the incident. 1. Catherine Cortzelius' heartbreaking death. In August 1995, Catherine's mother Nancy dropped her at the community mailbox, which was only 4 houses away from their home. When the 6-year-old didn't return, Nancy went out to look for her and found her dead 6 houses away. There was no sign of a hit and run, but the doctors said that the girl suffered a skull injury. There is a theory that Catherine was taken away, beaten, and then thrown on the road to be found. Her death is still a mystery, and her family has found no leads.